Lord of the Mysteries. Chapter 291. Seller and Notary in One. High probability of appearing. Klein controlled the world and made him laugh deeply. Yes, I really don't have the potion formula for Windblessed, nor will I have the means to obtain it anytime soon. However, I have an incomplete formula for a sequence 4 potion. Even though it's incomplete, I think you should know its value very well. It can be exchanged for at least 10,000 gold pounds, and most of the time, you can't even buy it with money worth several times that. This is a crucial step that will lead to a human's qualitative change. So, are you interested? The spinal fluid of a dark patterned black panther is worth between 500 and 700 pounds, and the spring of the elves' marrow crystals is between 300 and 400 pounds. I believe you'll still need to prepare an additional 9,000 pounds in cash or an item of equal value. Klein had long since speculated that the sequence of the Sun sequence pathway, unshadowed, could be swapped with the same sequence of the Sailor and Reader pathways, and this conjecture had been indirectly confirmed by Mr. A's request and in the information provided in Roselle's diary. It was even suspected to extend to the Secret Suppliant and Spectator sequence pathways. Therefore, he believed that the incomplete formula of Unshadowed was an irresistible temptation for the hanged man who was from the Sailor pathway. It doesn't matter if you don't have something worth 9,000 pounds for the time being, you can pay it in installments, with Mr. Fool bearing witness. Klein silently added. Currently, he was lacking the spinal fluid of a dark patterned black panther, so he didn't mind letting the hanged man remain on credit. In any case, he didn't need to worry about the possibility of him running away. Well, there are also latent risks. I would be at a huge disadvantage if Mr. Hangman suddenly dies. With such an expensive deal at hand, Klein couldn't help but feel a little apprehensive. The incomplete formula of a sequence 4 potion? An incomplete formula that leads to the path of a demigod? This is something that you can't even buy with money. Audrey's eyes lit up. She couldn't help hiding her curiosity as she asked before the hangman could speak. Mr. World, can I ask which sequence 4 pathway the formula pertains to? If it's not convenient to tell me, pretend I never asked. Mr. World actually has a sequence 4 potion formula. Even if it's incomplete, it's still very shocking. No wonder Mr. Fool pulled him into the Tarot Club. He isn't a simple beyonder. Well, Zio's and Furz's test mission has come to an end. Mr. Fool didn't mention if he's letting them join. Well, he must have other considerations, and maybe he needs more time to observe them. I shouldn't take the initiative to ask since it will appear impolite. Many thoughts ran through Audrey's mind at that moment. Miss Justice's question was just what Klein wanted. He made the world reply in a husky voice. I was planning to say it anyway. It's the potion formula to sequence 4 of the Sun pathway, unshadowed. The Sun pathway? Derek instantly looked towards Mr. World, who sat at other end of the long bronze table, his eyes filled with sudden eagerness and longing. However, he maintained his silence because he knew that he was still far from the threshold of a demigod. He had to spend his limited resources to strengthen himself first. Only caring about the near future was the way the City of Silver operated. This was because, to its residents, there might not be any future at any moment. Unshadowed. Audrey nodded gracefully, then happily said, Thank you for your answer, Mr. World. She felt like she had learned something important again. Unshadowed. Alger muttered slowly before calmly replying, I'm sorry. I have no need for it. No need for it? Klein was taken aback. This was completely different from the script he had imagined. In his shock, he indirectly caused the world to pause, looking incredulous. It took quite a few seconds before he said, You can first owe a portion. With Mr. Fool as witness, I believe you'll definitely make up for the rest. No, I really have no need for it. Alger shook his head. No need for it. He really has no need for it. He's confident that he would gain the favor of the Church of Storms and be bestowed with the corresponding potion directly? Or does he actually have the sequence 4 potion formula to the Sailor pathway? The name was Cataclysmic Interror? Klein quickly thought of 2 possibilities. What should I do? Don't tell me that I should trade the witch or demoness of pleasure formulas with him? Klein silently mocked himself, deliberately making the world silent for a few seconds before saying, other potion formulas, or some secrets I know, such as secrets of the peak level sequences. Alger changed his seating posture a little as he deliberated before answering. I personally know some secrets of peak level sequences. How will you guarantee that there's no overlap? How will you guarantee that the secrets you will tell me is equal in value to the dark patterned Black Panther spinal fluid and spring of the elves' marrow crystals? We'll each give the peak level sequence secret to Mr. Fool and let him decide if there's any overlap and determine their values. Mr. Fool, is that all right? Klein manipulated the world and asked himself this question. Then, he said with a supercilious attitude, Sure. Alger slowly nodded. I have no problems with that. Let's begin. I really want to know the secret of the peak level sequences. But I haven't had any extra money lately to buy it. Audrey looked enviously at the world and the hanged man as they each conjured a piece of goatskin parchment. Having never worried about money since she was young, she finally experienced the taste of poverty. Very soon, Klein received the content written by the two members. Without a doubt, he first looked at the goatskin parchment from the hanged man and discovered that the content was simple. There was only one sentence. The peak level sequence conceals the path to divinity. Phew. Great. Otherwise, there would be a need to use other information for the exchange. Klein carefully examined the world's goatskin parchment before chuckling softly. It doesn't overlap. To most beyonders, the secrets Mr. World is providing is of no value, but in the eyes of others, it's extremely important. This cannot be measured with money. Hearing this conclusion, Alger immediately fell into a dilemma. To him, getting two beyonder ingredients at the same time wasn't a small burden. He had to sell many valuable items in order to trade for them. To pay such a price to hear a secret that might not be very useful to him? Alger considered it for nearly 20 seconds before saying, Mr. Fool, can you provide more hints? I can't make a decision yet. Can't make a decision? The corner of Klein's mouth moved slightly. He knew that the words he had said to maintain his image had the opposite effect and had been ineffective. He hesitated for a moment and then smiled. The content he describes is a detailed supplement to the secret you know. Detailed supplement? A detailed supplement to the path to divinity? Alger didn't hesitate any longer. He turned his head to look at the world and said in a terse and firm voice, Deal. Then, he immediately added, I'll help you exchange for the spinal fluid of a dark patterned Black Panther and the spring of the elves' marrow crystals within the week. Of course, the premise is that they'll appear at the pirates' meet. Although the probability is very high, we still have to believe that anything could happen. If that happens, I might have to postpone it to next week, the following week, or even the next month. But don't worry, I will keep my promise. No problem. With Mr. Fool as witness, there's no need for me to worry. The world answered hoarsely. After they had confirmed the transaction, Klein conjured a goatskin parchment in front of the hanged man. Alger lowered his head eagerly, reading through each word voraciously. There is a sequence 0 above sequence 1. And sequence 0 is the sequence of a true god. They can similarly be reached through the corresponding potions and rituals. Sequence 0? The sequence of the true god. Alger was astonished and shocked at first, but soon he felt relieved, and then he murmured to himself in delight, I see. I understand what it means. He inhaled silently and leaned back in his chair, as if nothing had happened. That secret must be astonishing. Mr. Hangman even lost his composure. Audrey looked away with a longing expression and said to the son who was diagonally opposite her, Mr. Son, I remember you mentioning that the City of Silver has the Dragon Pathway Sequence 9, 8, and 7 potion formulas? Yes. Derek nodded honestly. Sequence 7's potion formula is Psyche Analyst. If I wish to get it, what is the price I need to pay? Audrey asked in a reserved manner. The Sequence 7 potion formula of the Sun Pathway. Derek replied without any hesitation. Audrey nodded gently and said, I'll do my best to obtain it. Zio infers mentioned before that there's a Beyonder of the Sun pathway at Mr. A's gathering. He's at least sequence 7 and is adept at purification and exorcism. Once all the recent events settle down, I can attempt to get it from him. In addition, I should join more of the gatherings at the abandoned education building in that hospital. I should try to come into contact with members of the psychology alchemists. One of the two paths will definitely lead to something. Thoughts flashed through Audrey's mind, but she suddenly realized that she was unable to obtain it even if she discovered clues to the formula. This was because she would be experiencing a financial crisis for the next few months and was barely holding on. The price of a sequence 7 formula is around £800, so if I scrimp, I should be able to produce that. It's already October, it's almost New Year's. I'll be an adult then, and I'll have the freedom to handle a lot more of my money. Or should I use the knowledge I was taught by Mr. Fool to trade? I wonder what attitude he has towards this kind of behavior. Audrey's thoughts gradually dispersed. She decided to wait until there was hope for the formula before she asked Mr. Fool. The transaction segment came to an end. Klein originally wanted to use the knowledge he knew to exchange for a mystical item without many negative effects, but after sensing how tight the hangman was, he knew that the other party would pay a large price for those 2 Beyonder ingredients. It was unlikely that he had any extra assets, so he could only give up in regret. As soon as the free exchange segment began, Alger took the initiative to mention. Vice Admiral Hurricane Kalangos' ship and crew was subdued, giving rise to a new pirate admiral.